You're all set, Commissioner Gutierrez.
Hello, everyone. In accordance with California Governor's Executive Order N2520 regarding the Brown Act and guidance from the California Department of Public Health on gatherings, this meeting is taking place entirely by teleconference via Zoom. The council chambers is closed. The public is accessing the meeting via the Santa Ana YouTube channel or the city's website. The commission members and I, along with the executive director, recording secretary, and city staff are in different locations. Please bear with us as technology may disrupt the flow of the meeting. Good evening, everyone. I call to order the May 19th, 2021 Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission special meeting at 5:34. Will the recording secretary please call roll?
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Torreblanca?
Here.
Commissioner Nelson?
Here.
Commissioner Gomez?
Here.
Commissioner Wu? Commissioner Mouet?
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Here.
Commissioner Gutierrez?
Here.
And Commissioner Wu, I do see that your mic is muted. Would you be able to unmute your mic? Commissioner Wu, I see that she is present.
All right, we'll go ahead.
And you do have a quorum.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and we'll continue. And wherever you are, if you could go ahead and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Next on the agenda is a time for public comments. Recording secretary, does anyone wish to speak?
Chairperson Gutierrez, there are no public comments at this moment.
Thank you. So next on the agenda is the consent calendar for items 1 and 2. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I motion to approve. Commissioner Gomez?
Thank you, Commissioner Gomez. And do we have anyone to second the motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Torreblanca. Recording secretary, if you could call roll for the vote.
Thank you, Chairperson. Commissioner Torreblanca?
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson?
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez?
Present.
Commissioner Mouet?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Commissioner Wu. Commissioner Wu, if you can still hear us, I do still see your microphone muted. If you're able to unmute it from your device.
I think we can move on. There she is. She's back now. Okay.
Go right ahead, Chairperson.
All right, thank you. So next on the agenda is the business calendar. The first item is to review amended bylaws, provide input, and by majority vote, recommend the City Council approve the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission bylaws. I will turn this over to the Executive Director Rudolph.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Commissioner Gutierrez. Tonight we have in your packet the bylaws that have been reviewed by the city attorney. And in your packet, you have a strike-through version and anything that she added to these bylaws. And essentially, she took everything out that was already in the Santa Ana Municipal Code. So if it's listed in the municipal code, it doesn't need to be listed in the bylaws. But I do want to bring your attention to one area that you'll need to make a decision tonight, and that's 8.4, the regular meetings. Typically, you met the fourth Wednesday of the month. That conflicted with another commission, and so we moved our meetings. So the third Thursday of the month is available for the Parks and Recreation Commission. If that is not good for everyone, then we're going to have to go into a Friday, and I'm not sure that you want to do that. So that's the only thing that we need to add to the bylaws. Right now it says the commission is scheduled for the fourth Friday of the month. I think that was just a mistake and left in from the Youth Commission. Again, you all met the fourth Wednesday. What is available now is the third Thursday. And you don't have to decide your time. If 5:30 works, that's great. If you want to go later or earlier, we could also do that. So if you can discuss that and let me know what day you choose tonight, that would be great. So I guess I'll just throw it out there. Is the third Thursday of the month at 5:30 a good date for everyone?
That works for me.
That works for me too, Lisa.
Yeah, Thursdays work here as well.
Okay, does it not work for anybody? Okay, seems like that is okay with everyone. So what I will do is add in the third Thursday of the month in section 8.4 that says regular meetings. Is there any other changes? Let me just bring your attention to one thing here. Oh, elections. Under 7.1, the election of the chairperson and vice chairperson shall be held annually at the July meeting, and the officers will assume their positions in August. So that was a little bit of a change.
So just clarification, would we be holding another election this coming up July?
Correct. Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other modifications you would like for these bylaws? If there are not, then I would need a motion to move these forward to the City Council.
This is Commissioner Gutierrez. I motion to move them to City Council.
I second.
Okay. Okay, Bill, can you call the roll? This has to be a majority vote.
Commissioner Torreblanca,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moet,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Ramirez,
Me?
we're
I
having
believe he
trouble.
said yes, but it's hard. It's just
Okay.
hard to hear him.
Commissioner Gutierrez
Yes.
and Commissioner Wu.
Yes.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And then the last item on the business calendar is to discuss and provide input regarding the proposed PFAS wellhead treatment facilities at Mabury Park, Santiago Park, and Santa Ana Zoo at Prentice Park. I will turn this over to Cesar Faria, Deputy Director of Public Works Agency.
Yeah, thank you, Cesar, for being here. I needed to bring this to all of you because this is going to impact our parks with these treatment systems that Cesar is going to talk about here in just a few minutes. And so I wanted to give you a heads up, and Cesar's going to take you through it. Eventually, this will have to go to the City Council for approval. So I'll go ahead and introduce you to Cesar Barrera. He is the Deputy Director, I think of Public Works or the World, I'm not sure, it's a water district, but we appreciate you being here, and Caesar, so take it away.
Thank you, Director Rudloff, and good evening, Commissioners. Cesar Barrero, Deputy Public Works Director of Water Resources, oversee the water and sewer infrastructure here with the City of Santa Ana. What I wanted to do today is showcase a little bit of where your water comes from. We'll take a couple minutes and go from there to set the tempo and have a discussion on how our parks are going to be impacted due to a wellhead treatment that we want to put on these facilities. So at any time, we'll go through the presentation, but if you like, I can more than happy to back up and ask questions as we're going. I do have additional staff attending. It's Fallon Franklin and Leif Lovegren, and they will be assisting. And if we want to put any information as messaging comes up or any other additional information, we're more than happy to help you with that. Again, thank you, Commissioners and Director Rudloff. And with that, I'm gonna, if I can share my screen here. Give me a couple of minutes here, seconds. And I'll get it going here. There. Can you see my screen? Yes? All right.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
And I know we asked that, but in Zoom meetings one time I didn't ask, and I was halfway through my presentation, and yeah, the screen wasn't being shown. Okay, and again, now this is PFAS wellhead treatment facilities. All right. Providing clean, reliable drinking water to the public is a great honor that comes with great responsibility to ensure we are meeting strict requirements for health and safety. In Santa Ana, the drinking water we provide to homes, businesses, and schools is safe and meets all quality standards set by the state and federal governments. We are constantly on alert for potential problems ranging from drought to protecting our supplies and equipment. One of the greatest emerging challenges we face now, like many water suppliers across the country, is from PFAS or PFAS contamination in our groundwater. So today I will be providing you a brief overview of where our water comes from, what is PFAS, how does PFAS affect the city and the county, and proposed PFAS wellhead treatment facilities. Here's an informational video showing exactly where the city of Santa Ana water comes from.
The city of Santa Ana is known around the world for its award-winning water. But have you ever wondered where that great tasting water comes from? The majority of Santa Ana's supply is groundwater and comes from directly beneath us. Roughly 75% of the city's water is stored underground and pumped to the surface by 20 wells spread throughout Santa Ana. The remaining 25% of water consumed in the city is imported from outside the area. This water comes from Northern California via the State Water Project and from the Colorado River via the Colorado River Aqueduct. For more information about your award-winning water supply, visit us online at www.santa-ana.org.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure we get the message that 75% of our water comes from underground. And a lot of our residents don't know that. And underneath, we sit on a basin. I'll talk a little bit more on our basin. But I wanted to make sure we understand that. And 25% we usually buy from imported sources. So that's how we get our water here in Santa Ana. So after hearing a little bit of information about where the water comes from, let's talk about PFAS or PFAS as it's known. You have probably heard about PFAS, which has been in the news lately because of recent requirements for testing and reporting. PFAS stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Yes, chemistry comes into play. So all of us who went through chemistry class. It is a group of man-made chemicals compounds. The compounds, specifically PFOA and PFOS, have been used in countless common household and industry products, including firefighting foams, cookware, food wrappers, cosmetic clothing, and carpet treatments. Ultimately, PFAS can be found in consumer goods and industrial products. PFAS is also known as a forever chemical because these compounds do not break down under typical environmental conditions. In other words, PFAS doesn't deteriorate in the environment, and it persists and remains. As of this year, 49 states are known to have PFAS contamination. As a result, the Environmental Protection Agency has released an action plan, and more than 30 bills have been introduced to House and Senate to monitor PFAS. Specifically here in California, response levels and notification levels have been established for PFOA and PFOS. What's a response level? A response level is a threshold that the state recommends for water to not be served to the public without treatment and or blending. A notification level, NL, is a threshold that does not pose a significant health risk, but warrants notification to the public. The response levels in the state of California are 10 parts per trillion for PFOA. To put this in perspective, the amount of PFOA that triggers a response level is equivalent to 40 grains of sugar dissolved in an Olympic-sized pool. The city has taken a policy to shut off and keep offline any and all test wells that show a detection level for this PFAS, whether it meets or exceeds response level or notification level. We've taken a stance to completely keep that facility offline. Before we cover how PFAS affects Orange County, we have to understand who manages the groundwater basin. So that's the image showing you of Orange County, and it's fairly large, right? All these cities there. The Orange County Water District has been protecting OC's right to the Santa Ana River since 1933. OCWD, Orange County Water District, was formed by California legislature to manage Orange County's groundwater basin. Orange County Water District manages the groundwater for 19 municipal and special water districts. The Orange County groundwater basin provides water to around 2.5 million residents. So what we want to show you here is the Orange County Water District manages this basin with all this water underneath us. And the Santa Ana River naturally is what the river that replenishes that basin. All right. Some Orange County groundwater basin sources are impacted by PFAS. It is estimated that around 70 wells of the 200 in the basin are impacted. Impacted wells have been taken offline when traces of the PFAS are found. In order to make up for the loss of production, water is being imported from Metropolitan Water District, that 25% section. So as we lose these wells locally for groundwater, we have to go out and buy imported water. And imported water is much more expensive to purchase than pump it out of the ground. It is estimated that the cost of imported water to support the loss of the 70 wells will potentially be up to $50 million annually. Orange County Water District is supporting the design and construction of PFAS treatment systems for impacted water retailers. To rise to the challenge, Orange County Water District launched the nation's largest PFAS treatment pilot program to identify the best available treatment technologies. In December of last year, Orange County Water District, along with impacted retailers, including us, Santa Ana, filed a suit against manufacturers to attempt to recover damages for the cost of treating the contaminated water. And this shows you quick regionally, the following local cities have been affected by PFAS. And you can see the Santa Ana is number 10 there because we came late into the game. The detections were coming up till later on, 3 or 4 years later when the state started requesting the tests. All right. So how has Santa Ana been affected? Santa Ana has been impacted by PFAS contamination. The city has shut down 5 of our 20 wells. We have 20 wells that pump water from the ground. And 5 of them found trace amounts detectable levels, so we put them off. PFOA and PFOS were found in the water, so we took them offline. One well is located at Mabury Park, and we'll go over the detail of these locations. Another is located in the overflow parking lot of the Santa Ana Zoo. And 2 wells are located in Santiago Park. The 5th well is in Cambridge Water Station, one of our pumping stations. In order to make up for the loss in well supply, the city is relying on imported well water from Metropolitan Water District to feed the upper zone. So we have, this picture is going to show you a little bit how the city of Santa Ana. So the blue dots represents all the city groundwater wells. You notice we have them throughout. And if you're familiar or you live nearby, you can see what well is close to your location. So the red dots now, the red dots represent the wells that have been placed out of service due to PFAS. So in the city of Santa Ana, 27 square miles, we only have 2 zones, pressure zones. And as you can see right here, the upper zone is located north of the 5 freeway. We break the head there. So everything north of the 5 freeway is what we would consider here upper zone. And as you can see, those red dots, they're all within, with the exception of well 31, they're all the production wells that we have in the upper zone. So we have if you see the location there that says SA6, the upper zone, do you guys see that? There's a green dot there. So that's where we buy the imported water from Met. And you can see that's the only green dot that we have in the upper zone. And it represents, that's basically where the faucet at. If we want to buy water, that's one of the locations we get it at. You'll see green dots throughout the city, and locally down Bristol Street, it's in the middle of the screen, and down the southeast portion. But over there in Santa Clara and Tustin is where we have that connection. And that's where we're getting all our water currently for the upper zone right now. All right. If the imported water connection experience any issues, it can be pretty catastrophic for the upper zone. Imported water costs are rising, and higher imported water costs equal higher ratepayer costs. To make up for the loss of water produced by the wells, which is approximately 20% of our production, the city could potentially pay up to $6 million annually in imported water costs. PFAS wellhead treatment facilities are preferred to bring wells back online with a cost-effective and supply reliability. Happily, there is a viable treatment solution here. Recall that the Orange County Water District is the governing body of the Orange County groundwater basin. Therefore, it is taking the lead in addressing the removal of PFAS throughout the region. There is an agreement in place with Orange County Water District to provide PFAS wellhead treatment. In that agreement, Orange County Water District agrees to cover 100% of the capital cost, which may up to be Santa Ana $15.7 million, to do community outreach, design, and environmental review and construction of these facilities. Orange County Water District will also pay for 50% of operation and maintenance costs for 30 years, which is approximately $550,000 a year. Here's an image of what a treatment vessel looks like. They are about 15 feet tall and 15 feet wide. Keep in mind that the vessels are designed to work in pairs. So depending on how the system are designed and how much water the wells output there will be either 2, 4, or 6 vessels. Here's another image. This is the top view of the vessels. is about 12 by 30 feet long on this location. And there's one more side. This is basically a side view of the vessels. All right, so let's talk about the parks. All right, let's review the facilities located. The first one is Mabury Park. There's an existing well there, what we call well number 40. And you can look here. The proposed treatment facility would be built in the back corner of the park, located in East Fruit Street and Cabrillo Park Drive. Well 40 is there. And this gives you another view, right? Here's a closer look with a graphical rendition of the layout. So here's the actual view here, a closer look. And a bird's eye view looking west for that location. For Mabury Park. And finally, a night image to depict the lights which would be in place at the park. All right. The next site is the Santa Ana Zoo overflow parking lot. We have existing well located near the freeway there, well 31. Let's check that. Here's the proposed, here is with the treatment vessels to the north of the existing well. However, we are exploring a location in the southeast of the well to reduce the impact on the future master plan improvements. So what we're looking here, all these layouts are 20 to 30% conceptual layouts. So this is a preliminary layouts that we've been working with our park department. Here's show the treatment vessels to the north of the existing well. However, again, where we're exploring a different layout at this location, but it gives you an idea of profile there. Here's a view from ground level. And finally, again, a nighttime graphic showing the lighting. And finally, there is Santiago Park. At the easterly end of the park, the city has 2 groundwater wells, a pump station, and a reservoir that stores millions of gallons of water and located between the nature center and the archery range. Again, here's a graphic of the proposed treatment facility and related access improvement. Like at the zoo, we're exploring the feasibility of locating these facilities along the fence line under the tree line at the top of the screen to reduce the impacts to the park. Here's a graphic of the proposed treatment facility and related access improvements. And we'll have a video here, a showing animation of the facility. With that, I'll stop the sharing, or if anybody would like to look or have any questions, we can go back to the video, to this presentation.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. So my question is, so you said that you're exploring other locations for where to place them. When do you think you'll have the final location, like a set location of like this is where we're going to do it?
We're working with parks, and the way it works is they'll give us recommendations, and we'll send it back to the engineering team, which is Stantec here, and they make sure that it's a feasible site location. So right now it can be anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 weeks out, but depending on the work and working with parks, right? and it's collaboration back and forth, and it takes some time, but it's hard to say to give you an exact date right now, Commissioner Torre Blanca, on the exact date. But it's a collaboration, and that's why Director Lisa wanted us to come out here and present this to the commissioners to get input from the commissioners.
Caesar, can you close your PowerPoint if you get a chance?
Sure.
Okay.
I can stop sharing too.
Commissioner Torreblanca, I'm sorry, what was your question again? What is the location, or when is the?
Oh no, so yeah, he answered my question. It was
Okay.
because he said that he wasn't, like, they might change the location, so I wanted to know like when we were gonna have like a final location.
And and that's a collaboration we're doing with the Parks Department, right? And that's what we're here today, right? Because I know a lot of recommendations, suggestions are going to come from tonight's presentation.
Yeah, as a professional, these are huge monstrosities that are going to be within the parks. And so I don't want it to look ugly. It's going to be a graffiti nightmare, possibly. We need to make sure that we are being compensated, and maybe some of the park is upgraded for the space that they are using. So that's what I wanted to make sure that we need to go out to the public. This is the first time, although there's no public at this meeting, but you're the commission, and I wanted to get your feedback, and we need to make sure that we're getting the community's feedback, around those parks, to make sure, these big 15-foot walls and these big giant structures are going to go up. I mean, that's significant, and you probably wouldn't want one by your house. So we're just looking for
I'd like to ask a question. So, I mean, these are obviously very expensive monstrosities. What kind of security are we going to implement to make sure that, one, they're not vandalized, and two, that they're not recycled? Or, I mean, when you have those walls there and electricity, that's, if you're, I know the Santiago Creek Trail has currently quite a homeless problem that's there. How do we protect it from that environment? I mean, it looks to me like we're kind of creating shelter / lots of electricity, resources that can be pilfered if not protected properly.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Lori. Yes, we do have existing facilities there, and we understand your concerns, and that safety is built into the design. And we do have a sophisticated SCADA system and monitoring CCTV system that alarms us immediately if any intrusion occurs in the facilities, right? And we already have that in place there. And it's just more of augmenting that system for this specific site. We do currently have a well out at the archery range, pushed all the way back in there, if you're familiar with it. And also between the Nature Center and our pump building, we have another building there. So we're familiar with that, the areas and the parks and challenges.
Okay, and my last question here is, I mean, these are going to be right in the middle of prime real estate in the parks. The only one I saw that looked like it was kind of out of the way was the one at the zoo. I mean, this is not exactly, if you're looking at it from an aesthetic standpoint, this is really pretty horrific. I understand the need and what it will do from a financial standpoint, but man, it's is there any locations that could, how far away can we get from these locations to make this work? Or does it have to be right in the middle of the park?
The locations have been studied by different levels by the engineering companies. And they studied what we call a centralized system and decentralized systems throughout the entire location of these facilities. The locations where you see today are the ones that the ideal sites the engineering team recommends. Now we start taking this to the public and start hearing concerns, and we start making adjustments to the facilities itself. Right now, we're on the 20 to 30% design level, fairly early, so we can relocate, tuck in, put adjacent to property lines and address that. And the engineering team that was delegated to do this has made their best recommendation, and with that we started this process, the presentations and starting the outreach.
Hi, this is Commissioner Gutierrez. I had a couple of questions as well. I was trying to look and see what exactly the treatment is, and I know that there's two different kinds of treatments right now. So I'm wondering which is the treatment that the Orange County Water District utilizes for PFAS. And then I know that this is to kind of mitigate an environmental risk that's happening. What are the environmental risks associated with running these facilities? Is there any carbon footprint? Is there any environmental costs that we're going to be looking at with running the treatment facilities? Those were the two main questions that I had. And then I also had a suggestion as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Gutierrez, for the question. Regarding the treatment type, this is going fairly fast in the Orange County Water District. It's fast paced. First initial test detection level started coming up in 2018. They just recently put together a pilot test over a year and have selected, the options is either granular activated carbon, which GAC in these vessels, or resin, a resin type, XY resin type of material. Santa Ana has selected the resin. Reason being is it does cost more upfront, but cost is all relative because this is very complicated, a lot of moving wheels here. Granular activated carbon is ideal, cost-effective way to treat this as of today. The problem is you literally have to double the number of vessels to get the same effectiveness as the resins that are being produced. And that's why we decided to take it over to the resin side. Again, so taking cost was not the primary driving source for Santa Ana. Orange County Water District will be paying that cost for us. Environmentally, it's nothing changes. These cylinders, well, the cylinder process at that footprint there, basically you're running pipe through a tank under pressure, and it's running through this media, which pulls out that specific and additional constituents that are in the water, and it puts it back into your system. That's what we're doing. And the only thing you have in there is one smaller additional booster pump. That's what's happening through there. It's almost kind of like a softener cylinder in your garage to soften your water, but you're doing it at 2,500 gallons per minute, typical size of a well. So it's a larger vessel.
Understood. And correct me if I'm wrong, but with the resin, that's better for short change PFAS, correct?
It's actually the resin we've selected, or the pilot test is leading towards to selection, instead of a 12-month exchange out for this resin life, it's starting to look closer to more of 18 to 20-month change out. And it's an interesting, because the water quality and chemistry, depending where you're at in Orange County, is different. Geologically, the water runs through like a river through the basin aquifer, and geographically, wherever you are, you get different quality of water. So the resin can last us, like, let's say 12 months here, but in a different location in the county, it could only last 6 months. But the water that locations we're getting at, we're looking closer to the 20-month range than the 12-month range. That's what the results of the pilot test has been showing on the resin.
Okay, and then the suggestion that I had, I think these water treatments are a really good opportunity for what we discussed in the Parks Master Plan of creating spaces that have functionality, but also have some kind of design aesthetic. So I'm wondering if there's maybe a way that if we do approve on this, and if the city council approves on this, you know, Executive Director Rudolph, you mentioned it might be a graffiti nightmare. Maybe those are one of the graffiti walls that we put up that, you know, to encourage, or something like that, or maybe having trusses, you know, vine trusses on some of the things to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, because I wouldn't want to put aesthetic over healthy water. I definitely think that these are important to have. And thank you for answering my questions about what kind of, I know you said it's a chemical, we're getting into chemistry, so I wanted to make sure which treatment we were doing.
Yeah.
And I do see that they have had some really good success in Fullerton with these kinds of treatments as well. So it's a good opportunity to maybe talk about some of those points with these treatment facilities, seeing what we can do to make it aesthetically pleasing and beneficial for the community, instead of just having these kind of eyesores in the middle of places.
Thank you for your comments, Commissioner Gutierrez. And yes, we collaborate with Director Rudolph's team on a consistent basis to be able to team up and maximize the opportunities that we have today. And also to reach out what's going to be the most beneficial for the community, the residents, and how do we interact it with the community, right? How do we make it integrated to be a day-to-day, right? You have a nature center, now you have a well, and you have a reservoir, and now you have a treatment vessel there, right? Well, we have future plans to continue to grow that relationship, to bring that type of educational environment to our residents. And we've been working on plans to unveil that concept to the city. So I hope that helps. We understand, and we like to commingle that idea together also. That's how we've been approaching this, as trying to leverage that opportunity. And we're open.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
I do have one more quick question. I mean, I understand that this is, you know, man-made chemicals that cause it, but has there been any understanding of why the northern part of our water in Santa Ana is being affected? Is there some source that's there, or is it just yeah?
Yes, thank you for the question, Commissioner Corey. Yeah, so there's a trend that's been going and the state has been observing a certain trend of this chemical coming down, and we closer to the Santa Ana River is where it started. And as you can see, the list of cities I put them in order as the state started finding detections of this chemical. If you notice, Santa Ana was at the end. We just recently just got detections. So they're finding this chemical northern, and it's traveling through the aquifer basin from a northern position to southeast. And that's how they're finding this detection of this chemical. That's how they've been doing the monitoring orders to the water retailers, and they've been following that path. And it's affected everything north of the 5 freeway, if you notice that. Geographically, geology, aquifer, the water running in our aquifer, they're still studying how this compound is moving through there. It's really it's in the preliminary stages. When you take a snapshot of how long we've been using this basin compared to how quickly they found and detected, the state, the federal and state, and local, they're really moving on it to get control of a better idea with how it's moving through the basin.
Are there
Thank
any
you
other
for that.
questions? Any other
Appreciate it.
questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
We were just talking about the aesthetics, and that's a concern, but I'm also just curious how noisy these facilities are, or if at all.
Yeah, great question. No, and Director Rudolph and I, we talked about that a lot too. And one of the recommendations is even though they're saying it's going to be under the 85 decibel range, we want to put sound wall and the interior perimeter of the walls, and that's one of the recommendations we're making on all these facilities. So sound attenuation is one of the concerns we've been addressing, and it is part of the plan check. And again, it was quickly brought up by Director Rudolph, and then we jumped on it, and it's only on the 20-30% stage of design. We won't proceed to full design till we get an actual layout of the final location where we decide and everybody's in agreement of putting the facilities in. We cannot start continued design of this till we get the location of the layout.
Thank you.
I have one other quick question. On the other side of the spectrum for sound, there was also on the demonstration you were showing that the machine would have like lights at night.
Yes.
I was wondering how bright those lights would be and what hours they would be on. Since I know on Mabury Park, the current site is right next to the houses. So just on how bright they would be and how long would they be turned on throughout the night, or if they're going to be turned on that night.
From a technical standpoint, lumen wise, I'm not familiar. I can't tell you right now how many lumens it would be or kelvins, and because the LED lights, but the engineer was select the proper lighting, depending on case by case location. But it'll be the typical standard line that we have at our regular facilities, like the one you're talking on the wall at that location. That in its traditionally we have the dawn to dusk lighting, and it's automated. And
that's the same with our security lighting in our parks. So Cesar, would it be, so we have our security lighting on in all parks from dusk till dawn. It wouldn't be any brighter than that, correct?
No,
okay.
No.
Good.
In the renditions you saw, they show them really bright, right? Because it's the depiction, right? They want to show you the depiction of how it looks at night. It's a wow factor. Thank you for the question, Commissioner Ramirez.
Okay. Are there any final questions regarding the presentation? All right, then.
Well,
thank
you so much, you guys. We just wanted to make sure this is brought to you. We're going to try to make this as aesthetically pleasing, and I mean, it's going to be obtrusive to the park, but wherever the final location is and any kind of design options that will make the park better, perhaps we can get some security lighting within the park since they're going to be providing lighting. So maybe they can put security lighting throughout the park, or maybe we can put some cameras throughout the park, security cameras, because I would like to do that to all the parks eventually. And so we'll look at those kind of things. If it's near a sports court or near like at Santiago Park, near the driveway, we need to refurbish or seal the drive through Santiago Park. We're talking about improving the archery range because it may impact the archery range, things of that nature. So we will try to make it as beautiful as possible, knowing that this has to happen. And we just want to make sure that it's not this, it's best for the community. We just don't want it to take away from our parks. So thank you, Cesar. I appreciate the presentation. Can you tell us what are the next steps and how will this be processed through?
The next steps would be to collaborate again, continue collaborating with your team, Lisa Rudolph, Director Rudolph, and in the final location. So we'll have additional meetings, and also as time goes, if the commission has additional recommendations, ideas, we're always open, and I'm always open to come back to have more discussions. I know this was a lot. I understand. I don't expect to have all the answers right now, but we are continuously collaborating with parks, and we will continue. I'll be more than happy to come back with an updated, update where we're at, recommendations, and we're completely open. So it's more of trying to finalize, Director, the final locations, and once we have that, we can green light the engineer to finalize the plans. The water district is on a very, very aggressive schedule to get these facilities in, but we'll do what we can, right, to make sure we hear our residents, our commissions, and our city, right, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We'll start that path. And I'm more than happy to come back in a month for an update, or whenever you feel, Director Rudolph, where we're at.
I just want to know when it has to go to council. And I guess we can talk about that and figure out what is that timeline, and then where between now and the council is the community around those facilities going to be notified?
So that's a great question. And traditionally, when we do design, we traditionally do the design and then put it out to bid. And the Orange County Water District was doing the bidding process. And before we award, that's when our council is notified. So we have time,
okay,
right? Because we're still in the 30% design, 20% design, depending on what site. Some sites can quickly go much quicker than other sites. Santiago Park is complicated.
That's the one that's worrying me. That's very complicated, and we need to make sure that there is significant outreach because there is some construction going on, and I wouldn't want it to disturb what we are already doing and have planned. And so that's the one that the zoo I'm not so worried about. I think that's fine. And Mabury Park, I think we can work something out there, but Santiago Park, we need to make sure it looks natural and in a place where it's hidden, or I know those walls are 15 feet, but maybe there's design elements or things of that nature that we can put there and make it beautiful, art or something.
Yeah. Quick question. I mean, I keep gravitating back to Santiago as well as kind of the one that's a tough one. But is there stuff? I know there's improvements being done in Santiago. Is there any of those improvements there that we could potentially integrate into that design? Like maybe if there was a bathroom at one end of it, or it had some sort of functionality to it, is that even an option, or are we too late in the game for all of that?
I apologize, Director Rudolph, if I jump in. Commissioner Corey, apologies. No, not at all. It's 20 to 30%. We have time to give those recommendations, it's still enough time to do that. The challenge right now is to finalize the actual location, the final location, horizontal location of it, so we can proceed with the design. So you know, we can move it. Well, right now it's really easy to move it left or right. But once we finalize that location, we continue the engineering, it's going to be very challenging to change that location without severely impacting the engineering portion, the design of that site. So we do have time. We, you know, Director Ruloff has been on top as far as getting the commissioners involved immediately on this, and to shoot. When we finally had something to show, right? She said, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's show our commission what we're planning."
That's perfect. Let's do this. How about if we, we'll continue to work, commissioners, and I'd like to bring this to the Youth Commission next month. I can't catch them this month, but we'll bring it to them next month and bring it back to you next month and see if we've come up with narrowed it down to a location and some aesthetics things that we've thought about. And if you're okay with that, we'll come back. It won't be this long of a presentation, but we'll bring back, you know, some pictures and some simulations and things like that. And I didn't mean that bad, Caesar. You did a great job, and I really appreciate your photos and your videos, because it's very easy. It was very easy for me to understand, and I hope it was for you all too.
Thank you, Director.
So we'll do that, and I think we'll be good to go.
Okay, are we good to move forward? Wonderful. So
Yes.
next on the agenda is commissioner comments. This is a time for each commissioner to provide comments if you wish, but it's not required. I'll call upon each commissioner individually, starting with Commissioner Ramirez.
I'm sorry to Commissioner Gutierrez. I made a mistake when we were talking about the dates of our meetings. I said the third Thursday. It's actually the fourth Thursday. So is the fourth Thursday going to work for you? The fourth Thursday per month? And Mr. Sandoval, can you confirm that is the correct date that is available, the fourth Thursday of the month for these commission meetings? And if so, do we need to take another vote to confirm?
Thank you, Executive Director Ruloff. At this point in time, it looks like the fourth Thursday of the month is open. We do apologize for that, commissioners, with the virtual meetings that have been happening. As you remember correctly, we used to be on the fourth Wednesday of the month, and we had to change that because meetings keep popping up. So, however, right now, the fourth Thursday of the month is open. We do have to take a roll call vote for that if everyone is in favor of that.
Okay, is the fourth Thursday of the month acceptable to everyone?
It works for me.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Works for me.
This is Ruby Woo. It works for me.
And I just want to clarify when there are holidays, because I know in November, the fourth Thursday will probably going to be Thanksgiving. So if there are holidays, they'll be moved accordingly, correct?
That is correct.
Then yes, works for me too.
Okay, Mr. Sandoval, if you can
Thank you.
cover the motion or vote.
Commissioner Torreblanca,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Wu,
Yes.
Commissioner Moet,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gutierrez.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I believe it's all right to go to commissioner comments, correct? Wonderful, thank you. So like I said, I'll call upon each commissioner individually, and we'll go ahead and we'll start with Commissioner Ramirez if you have any comments.
Yeah. With the recent news about the EDC guidelines, there's a whole new question up in the air of in-person meetings and when are the schedule, or when are we planning to open up to be more in-person activities or in-person events and or grand openings that we talked about a few meetings prior. I am more curious on how that would happen, and also if possible, I think it would be best to, if we do change to in-person meetings, still follow certain guidelines as in 6-foot distance or wearing masks as a preferred environment. I wanted to ask what are like the questions, concerns, and ideas about possibly going into in-person meetings in the.
Yes, I can answer that question. The city council is waiting until June 15th, essentially. And then I believe the city council meetings will be in person after June 15th. City Hall will be open. You know, we'll be back to our regular operations. I believe that there won't be any masks that are required, but I don't know that for sure. What we're trying to keep open at the city council meetings, and I also want to keep it open for the commission meetings, is for people to call in via Zoom or phone if they can't make it to the meetings. So I also want to make sure that you all still have your iPads. If you didn't hear me earlier, we have the iPads. They have come in. If you have ordered one, we're going to get those to you. And if you can't make it to a meeting, you certainly can call in via Zoom. So we're trying to figure all that out. The problem, or a little bit of a problem there, is that we have to post where you are. So if you are at your office or you're somewhere where you're going to sit down and you're going to listen to this meeting and participate, you have to post it, and the public has to be able to come to that location. So we can figure that out. So we're trying to make it as convenient for everybody as possible. So we'll have our hub and our home base at City Hall, and we'll try to make sure that you all can either Zoom or be there in person. But we anticipate after June 15th that will happen. So we'll keep you posted on that for sure.
All right, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go on to Ward 2. Commissioner Gomez, if you have any additional comments.
No, I think as we hopefully end the whole pandemic situation, I'm just very thankful that we're able to move forward and hopefully meet in person in the future. I'm very bummed out about hearing about the wells in the park, not because of their aesthetically not pleasing, but because I think that's so much room that we're taking away from families and youth. And I know it's needed, and water is life, so I respect that, but I just wish there was another solution. But other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gomez. Moving on to Ward 3, Commissioner Moet.
Yeah, I think a couple meetings ago, I had just wondered about how the process is going in terms of thinking about rehiring part-time staff or what the status is. I mean, I know it was so up in the air, and it still kind of is. You talked about June 15th being a big date. So yeah, I was wondering how that's going, if there is anything to report.
Yeah, we're already hiring. So we're anticipating, because it takes a while to hire people. And so we're already starting that process. It doesn't mean we're going to be back to normal on June 15th. However, for example, the special events, we are not going to have any major special events in 2021. So we provide the Fiestas Patrias, the 5K run. All those take a year to plan for. So our plan this year for 2021 is to go out into the neighborhoods, and we have movies in the park planned throughout the community. So we're planning for all of those right now. So kind of bringing events to the free events to the parks for the community to get together and things of that nature. We're going to get some people, get some popcorn, 500 people. We've got the movie screens. We're having the neighborhood associations help us select the movies. And so, you know, we're going to go back to normal as best as possible. We're hiring people, and it just might be a slow rollout. But we want to, you know, there's a lot of city council members interested in starting like today, and others have to say, okay, slow down. We have to wait till June 15th. And so we're working towards that and getting back to where we should be. But I'd just like to say, can I make some comments at the end, Commissioner Gutierrez, just about where we are and what's going on? Okay.
Yes,
great.
of
I won't
course.
take everybody's time right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mott, did you have any additional comments or questions, or was that it?
No,
Thank
that
you
was
very
it.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Ward 4 with Commissioner Nelson.
Yeah, I actually, there was a movie in the park at Santiago, which actually is what prompted when I saw that it was this last weekend. So it was very well received. The neighborhood, everybody kind of had their own blanket and was socially distanced. It was nice to be outside. I can tell you that much, and it was quite fun. So more of that would be great. I'm looking forward to being able to meet everybody in person and have some chats. But that's pretty much it. I appreciate all your input, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Ward 5, Commissioner Wu.
All I want to say is the water.
Commissioner Wu, there is some technical feedback and static. It's a little slow. I'm not sure if that can be remedied.
I know she's having some difficulties over there, so maybe you can go to the next person and come back to her.
Yes, we'll go ahead and we'll try that. And the last is Ward 6, Commissioner Torreblanca.
Yeah, hey, I just want to once again thank Mr. Barrera for having this ready for us. I really think it was like very informational and like easy to follow. And I like that you said that the water district is on a very aggressive like time constraint, and they really want to expedite this, you know. I think that's super important. I mean, when it comes to safety, specifically with water, you know, as a previous commissioner said, like water is life, you know, like we really need it. And if that place where we purchase our water up in that upper section like fails, like I don't want to see what that's going to look like. I know it's really important to have water, and I take a lot of pride in Santa Ana's water. So I just really want to appreciate the fact that we're working so vigorously through this.
Thank you. No, my turn, but I don't really have any additional comments. I too am really excited that we have the possibility of meeting in person and getting to see everyone and actually meet you in the flesh, not just via Zoom. But I do appreciate still wanting to keep accessibility open just in case there's any last minute hiccups and we can't meet in person. I did have one question actually. As far as the jobs, is there any confliction if we were to get a part-time job working for the city with our commissioner projects?
You mean working for the city? You can't work for the city if you're a commissioner. You can volunteer, but it would be a conflict of interest if you were to work. You'd have to be a commissioner, or you can work for the city.
Lisa, that's weird because I know David Peñalosa appointed a police officer to the planning commission, and he was a police officer for Santa Ana, which is still the city. right? Unless it was an officer for schools, which I think then it's different, no? Is the school
The
police different
schools,
than city?
schools would be different. Yeah, schools
that's-
would be different. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification on that too, to make sure that there wasn't, if any of us were planning on applying, to make sure that, but thank you for that. And then were we able to, Commissioner Wu, were you able to get back online?
I hope somebody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
I just want, okay, I just wholeheartedly support the rest of the commissioners and what they said. That's about it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Executive Director Rudolph, if you wanted to have your comments as well.
Yeah, just really quick. We've had some budget meetings with the City Council. There are some great opportunities for Parks and Recreation as far as some federal stimulus funding. And so just really good things are going to be happening in our park system. I'm very, very excited about that. So we'll go through all of that and hopefully we'll be in person here in June for sure, and we can take our time and go through things. The other thing I wanted to bring to you next month is we're revamping our special events permit application and as well as our field allocation policy. So I wanted to run those by you just to let you know what we're doing now and how we're proposing to change. And I don't necessarily, bring commissions, operational, here's how we do it. But these are going to be significant, and I want to make sure that we run them by you and get your opinions. And so I'll bring those to you next month and get your input. So thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate the time. And back to you, Commissioner Gutierrez.
Thank you. I look forward to the meeting next month, and I appreciate all of your thorough hard work in getting us everything and making sure that we're well informed too. So this is the conclusion of the meeting. The next special meeting is scheduled for, and I'm not sure if this is correct with the new changes, the June 24th. Let me make sure before I say that.
Commissioner or Mr. Sandoval, are we going to meet the 24th? Is that correct?
The 24th would land on the 4th Thursday, which we have agreed upon. The only thing is that it wouldn't be at 4 o'clock, it would be at 5:30 p.m.
Perfect. So I will go ahead and amend that. So the next special meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 24th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I motion. Corey.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Torreblanca. Recording Secretary, if you could have a roll call for vote.
Thank you, Chairperson. Commissioner Torreblanca,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Wu, Commissioner Moet,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
and once again, Commissioner Wu.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So meeting is adjourned at 6:47 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.